Hello, my yarny friends. I'm Sara Sach, and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video is our Scrap Happy pattern of the month, and we're going to make this Scrap Happy Harvest basket. It's the perfect size for taking out in the garden and picking flowers or vegetables. It's also great because we made the handles just a little bit longer, and you can slide them across your arm. And so it works great for markets and shopping, yarn shopping, or even just use it as your handbag. It's a nice sturdy bag because we use 4 strands of yarn held together. All right, now as far as the measurements, across the bottom, it's 10 inches, okay? And then the side of it is only about 6 inches tall, maybe a little longer, maybe 6.5 inches, not real tall, but it measures about 32 inches all the way around. So it's a short, squatty bag, perfect for harvest. I love this bag. It has lots of fun uses, and we make the handles nice and sturdy. And also, because we use 4 strands of yarn, it is a super sturdy bag, and you can put whatever you want inside and tote it where you need to go. I love it. I think it'd even be great for if you take your kids to daycare, put their favorite toys or things in there without having to carry a great big diaper bag. So it just has so many different uses. Take it to the beach, take it to the pool, take it to the yarn store, and just have some fun with this bag. It is a super easy bag. It's almost all stitched in double crochets, and we have this little open work here that I added that I think just makes it nice and fun and pretty. And I love the way that Scrap Happy projects work, because you're putting all kinds of different colors of yarns in this bag. There are solids, there are variegateds, there are sparkle yarns, brights, darks, all different shades, and it looks beautiful. And that's what I love about our Scrap Happy projects. You never know what it's going to look like until you're finished. And that's the fun of it. All right, so this is our Scrap Happy Harvest basket. And as always, you can find that complete pattern with pictures down in the notes underneath this video. You don't need a lot of supplies to make our harvest basket. You're going to need about 12 ounces of a medium weight number 4 yarn. Now, I've often talked about how I make these crazy balls, and I put 4 strands together and I wind them up into these balls. And I don't care whether they're ombres or variegated or solids or sparkle, glitter, whatever. I just put them all together with 4 strands of yarn. When one ends, I just add another one in and just keep going as I work on projects through the year. And then when I'm ready, I have a bunch of these, what I call crazy balls, to work with. Sometimes I do them with 2 strands, sometimes 3, and sometimes 4. For today's project, we're going to be working holding 4 strands together. Don't panic. It's a whole lot easier than you think. The hardest part is just keeping them flat and even. Okay, but it's not hard at all. And you're really going to love how quickly this project will stitch up. These 4 strands, I think, equal about a bulky number 6. So if you've got some bulky number 6 yarn that you want to just use up, you could do this pattern and get about the same size results. I just think it's so much fun to take all these colors that you don't even know if they go together and make something really pretty out of them, and useful as well. So you're going to need a total of about 12 ounces of a medium weight number 4 yarn. Again, I'm using acrylic. You could use cotton or some other fibers. I just really recommend that you don't mix your fibers, because if you mix them, I mean, you know, wool felts and cotton and acrylic shrink differently. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your yarns. We're going to be stitching today with our 9mm end hook. Some end hooks are 10mm, but I want my stitches just a little bit tighter, so I'm using the 9mm, okay? And this is just your basic boy, B-O-Y-E hook, and I just added my polymer clay hook cover to the end. And then besides that, the only other things you need is your needle and a pair of scissors. I do suggest that you put your ball or whatever you're using. You could use 4 strands or 4 separate balls if you wanted to, or 2 balls of 2 strands. It's up to you. But I do recommend that you keep them in some sort of a container because it's going to roll all over the place and you might lose it onto the floor. All right, so I've got mine in this container that I use all the time. And we're going to hold 4 strands together as we work. We'll be starting at the bottom of our basket and work the bottom of it and then work up the sides and then add that handle. All right, so I'm holding my 4 strands together, and as I work I'm going to gently pull those out just so I don't have any loops or twisted yarns that'll make it loop up or get knots. All right, so we're going to start with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to join this into a circle. So we'll put the tail of yarn over our hook and pull that through. Now, if you would prefer to do the magic circle or another method here to make your circle, you certainly can. I'm going to tie that stay knot. Now we're going to go in, pull up a loop, and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now this can be a little bit clumsy working with 4 strands, but once you get going, it's going to go pretty fast. And we are going to stitch over this tail of yarn. We're going to stitch 9 double crochets. Our first one, our chain 3 counts as 1, and then we're stitching an additional 9. One, 2, 3, 4, and you'll need to squish those around. 5, 6, 7, whoops, don't want to lose one of my strands there, as it can happen. And I think this one is my 9th one, but I will recount just in case. All right, so we have a chain 3 that counts as our first, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Chain 3 and 9 double crochets. We're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Alrighty, so now what we're going to do is turn this over. We're going to gently pull on those strands of yarn, and we're going to grab our needle. Now, you may not be able to get all 4 of those strands in your needle. If you don't have one that's big enough, you can individually, or just by using 2 of them, weave this in. The main thing is you don't want a hole in the bottom of your basket. So I'll go up, and I'll go back. And it is a little harder getting through that many strands, but it is definitely worth it to go through some of those fibers and stitches. Give it a nice good tug, and cut our yarn. All right, so for round 1, we have our 10 double crochets. We joined to our chain 3 and chained 3. All right, let's do round 2. We've chained 3, so we're going to stitch a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3. Oops. There we go. Got to get that in the right spot. Now we're going to go into the next double crochet and stitch 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. And this will probably be a little bit snug. And that's what we want. We don't want any big gaping holes in our basket. And so it is going to be just a little bit snug getting all those stitches in there. And what we're going to do is place 2 double crochets in each of those double crochets around. This is going to get us a nice flat and sturdy bottom of our basket. All right, so we're stitching 2 double crochets in each of the double crochets around, and then we'll join back to our chain 3. We placed a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3 and then 2 double crochets all the way around. So we have 20 double crochets. We're going to join to that chain 3. Get in there. There we go. Whoops. Got to get all those strands of yarn. There we go. So we joined our chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So round 3, we're just doing the same thing that we did on round 2. We just have more stitches. So we're going to double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3. And then we're going to place 2 double crochets in each of those double crochets around, just like we did on round 2. Only again, like I said, we'll have more stitches because we're still increasing. So 2 double crochets in each of those double crochets, working all the way around. And you can see it's very snug. We want it to be close and tight so we don't have any holes showing through. And when it's done tightly like that, it can be just a little bit challenging, but that's what we want. That's the way we want it to be. We want it to be nice and snug. Let's do that stitch over. There we go. Nice and snug. All right, so we're going to place 2 double crochets in each of our stitches around and then join back to our chain 3. I have completed round 3 and we have 40 double crochets. We're going to join to that chain 3 with our slip stitch and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. All right, now you'll notice over here I have an area where I have my yarn cut, and that's because I had a knot in there. And so I want to show you real quick the best way, in my opinion, to put 2 strands together, because we're using 4 strands of yarn. Our yarns are not going to end in the same places. All right, so what you want to do is grab your needle, thread one end on. We're going to go back across like this and make a couple stitches in that yarn. 2 or 3 is fine. All right, put your thumb here and pull that to form a loop. All right, so now we have a loop on that end of our yarn. Now we'll take this end of our yarn where we're joining them together, and we're going to go through that loop just like that. And we'll do the same thing. We'll go through some of those stitches and pull that through. All right, so now we have 2 loops, and all you need to do is gently take the two ends and pull, and then take the other two ends and pull. This will help make sure those two ends go together and there isn't any knots or bumps in your yarn. Now, I don't even cut that. I just leave that, and as I'm going, I just stitch it in, okay? And to me, that's the best way when you're dealing with several strands of yarn that don't end at the same time to get a nice looking knot. All right, let's do round 4. So we're going to double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3. Now we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so now in the next stitch, we're going to stitch 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Now in the next 3 stitches, we'll stitch 1 double crochet. And there is a knot right there you can see, but I'm not going to deal with that one right now. All right, let's make sure there aren't any loops or bumps in that. There we go. All right, so our repeat for round 4 is 2 double crochets in the next and 1 in each of the next 3 and repeat. But I want to show you here where I joined those ends. I just go ahead and keep crocheting. I don't cut those ends unless they're sticking out, and then I will. Okay, so I'm stitching 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Get the yarn all straightened out. It's a little shorter on that one strand because of doing that Russian join. All right, so I'm going to turn this over. I do have a couple of strands sticking out from that join, and then I'll clip them then. And a lot of times I won't do that till the end of the project just to tidy it up. Okay, but I think that makes a really great join. All right, so we're going to continue around stitching 2 double crochets in the next, 1 double crochet in the next 3, 2 double crochets in the next, 1 double crochet in the next 3, all the way around, and then join back to our chain 3. I have repeated round 4, 2 double crochets in the next, 1 in each of the next 3, and repeat all the way around. Join to your chain 3 with the slip stitch and chain 3. And for round 4 we have 50 double crochets. We have now completed round 4. We joined our chain 3 and chained 3. Now we're going to do round 5. So we're going to double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3. There we go. And now we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Looks like I got a little knot there I need to deal with. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 double crochets, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 in each of the next 4. All right, so 2 double crochets in the next, 1 and 2, and then 1 double crochet in the next 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 double crochets in the next, 1 in each of the next 4, and repeat all the way around for round 5. and then we'll join back to our chain 3 and chain 3. And you can see how quickly it's stitching up using 4 strands of yarn. I have now completed round 5. You have 60 double crochets, and this is as big as the bottom of our basket will be. Now we're going to begin working up the sides. This is going to be the outside, all right, and so this will be the inside. All right, so what we're going to do on round 6 is we're going to place 1 double crochet in each of our double crochets around, and we're going to be working in what's called the back loop only. So we'll be working up here, and you'll notice that there are 2 sets of loops. The loops that are on this side of your row are your front loops. They're facing you. The back loops are the ones back here that are facing away from you. All right, so we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of the back loops around. There we go. All right, so that's your front loop. We're going to go in the back loop and stitch a double crochet. 1 double crochet in each of the back loops. Now, as you're stitching, you'll know that you're doing it correctly if you see this line of stitches across here. That's going to help our bag to sit up better, or basket. It's actually a basket. I keep calling it a bag, but it can be used as a bag as well, because it does make a nice market bag or shopping bag. And I like a bag I can wash. Just toss it in the wash with my towels and let it do its thing and know it's going to make it through. Alrighty, so now what I'm doing is just going around stitching 1 double crochet in each of my stitches, working in the back loops only, all the way around. Then we'll join back to our chain 3. I have completed row or round 6, stitching in the back loops only, and you can see how there is a line of loops that we didn't stitch in. That's going to help your basket sit up like it should. Now I join back to my chain 3. We have 60 double crochets, back loop only, and I'm out of yarn, so I'm going to need to add a new ball of yarn. But that's okay, because this is our demo and I'm going to be working from our actual basket next. And so what you're going to do is, for the next 4 rows, you're going to chain 3, 1 double crochet in each double crochet around, having 60 double crochets in each row. So you're basically just repeating what we did on row 6, only you're not stitching in the back loop only. We're going back to stitching regularly double crochets. Regularly is a hard word to say, I guess. All right, so we're going to stitch 4 rows of 1 double crochet in each of our double crochets around. So here's my actual basket that I've been working on instead of the demo. We've stitched up. Here's our row where we stitched in the back loops only, and then we stitched 1, 2, 3, 4 additional rows. All right, so what we're going to do now is, after that 4th row, we again join to our chain 3, only this time we're going to chain 4. This chain 4 counts as a double crochet, chain 1. All right, and so what we're going to do is we're going to skip the next double crochet and double crochet in the next. All right, so double crochet, chain 1, skip the next double crochet and double crochet in the next. chain 1, skip the next, and double crochet in the next. Chain 1, skip the next, double crochet in the next stitch. And see how that looks? Our chain 4 counted as a double crochet, chain 1, we skip the next one, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and we'll repeat this working all the way around our bag. We'll complete it all the way around, and then we'll join to the third chain of our beginning chain 4. I have completed row 11, where we stitched a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet all the way around the edge of our bag, okay? And then we join back to our chain 3. And this time, get all those loops in there, we're just going to chain 1. And that's because we're going to do a row of single crochets. All right, so we'll go right in that first stitch and stitch a single crochet. Then we'll go in the chain 1 space and stitch a single crochet. Then we'll go in the next double crochet and stitch a single. Then we'll go in the next chain 1 space and stitch a single. All right, so basically we're stitching a solid row of single crochets around the top of our basket. And so even though we did double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, we still had 60 stitches because we have 30 double crochets and 30 chain 1s. And now that we're doing a solid row of single crochets around the top, we'll have 60 single crochets. So we haven't added or subtracted any stitches to our basket. All right, so 1 single crochet in each double crochet, 1 single crochet in each of the chain 1 spaces. So we're stitching a solid row of single crochet around the top of our basket. We'll do this all the way around and join back to our first single crochet. I have completed this row. We have 60 single crochets. We single crocheted in each of the double crochets and single crocheted in the chain 1 spaces all the way around. All right, so now I'm going to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. Now this next row, we're going to add the handles. All right, so we're going to single crochet in the first 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, oops, 5, 6, 7, oops, 8, and I know I saw that knot, 9, and 10. All right, let me make sure I counted correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 single crochets. Now we're going to chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have chained 20 chains, and we're going to skip the next 10 stitches. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then join to this next stitch with a single crochet. All right, so we chain 20 and we skip 10. Now we're going to stitch in the next 19 because we've stitched 1 single crochet and we're going to stitch 19 more so that we'll have 20 single crochets. I have stitched 20 single crochets, and again we're going to chain 20. So I have chained 20. We're going to skip the next 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and join to the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was correct. And then we'll stitch 1 single crochet in these last 9 stitches. And see how those handles are going to work? So I stitched, we joined, and then I stitched in those last 9. And now we're going to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch. Whoops, gonna make sure we get all 4 of those strands. There we go. And chain 1. And I just want to show you, we're going to do one more row because we want our handles to be a little bit sturdier. But see how sturdy this bag is because we used 4 strands of yarn? All right, let's finish up our bag. And all we're going to do is we're going to stitch a single crochet in each of the single crochets, a single crochet in each of the chains, all the way around our bag. And that's going to give us a nice sturdy edge on our bag and nice sturdy handles. All right, so make sure you stitch in that first stitch or you'll be off by 1. And we'll stitch single crochet in each of the single crochets. Whoops, there we go. All right, and now this brings us to our handle, and we're going to stitch a single crochet in each of those chains. And see how sturdy that handle is going to be? All right, so we'll continue this all the way around. 1 single crochet in each single crochet, 1 single crochet in each of the chains, all the way around, and then join back over here to our first single crochet, and we'll be done. I have single crocheted all the way around, and see how nice and sturdy those handles are? I can't wait to get out in the garden and use this. All right, so I did that right because I just have a little bit of yarn left on this one. Alrighty, so now I'm going to join to that last single crochet with a slip stitch. I'm going to bring those loops to the inside just for a neater appearance. We'll grab all those loops. Missed that purple one. There we go. All right, then we'll go ahead and tie that off. Cut that. And I'll take my needle and weave these ends all in. Now, something that I do sometimes when I make something that has several strands is I'll do some of those strands individually or by 2s, just depending, you know, because I think it looks a little too bulky to try to weave it in all 4. I mean, sometimes I do. Just depends on what I'm doing. But I really want this to hold well, so I'm doing 2 and 2. Again, you do what works best for you. That's what makes crochet art. You don't have to do it the way everybody else is doing it. I do recommend when you do this, you use a needle with a pretty sharp point and don't use the blunt end ones because it is really hard to get through all of those fibers when you're using 4 strands of yarn. All right, my bag is all done. I'm super excited to get out in the garden with it and use it. Okay, because it has nice size on the sides, but not too deep. And if you want it deeper, you can always add more rows of those double crochet rows. But I wanted the handles a little bit big so I can put it across my arm. And as I'm picking tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers, I can throw them into my bag. All right, so that's our Scrap Happy Harvest bag.